Hi, welcome to Cherie's Weight Loss Journey. Um, I didn't get any sleep last night. I'm going to tell you, I was on my way to sleep, but I kept seeing these videos where black women are chastising white women for voting who they wanted to vote for. Okay? I don't know about you all, but these last 4 years, it's been hell for me, right? I've been just barely surviving. And half of the time, I feel like the unruliness is liable to pop off at any time. And I don't feel safe that way. I don't feel safe if it seems like, things could get unruly at any time. And here's the thing that is really weird to me. What's really weird to me is, okay, if we want to talk about narcissism, right? The overt narcissist, right? The overt narcissist is actually competent, right? It's the covert narcissist that is incompetent and wants to be a leader. I personally felt like Biden was a covert narcissist. Yes, I did. Okay? And rather than lead, right, the country into prosperity and success, and I didn't feel like that was happening. Okay? The immigrations coming in made me feel like, oh my gosh, I could get murdered by an undocumented person in our country. And then I also felt like my job could be replaced by an undocumented person in this country, right? Because it was millions upon millions upon millions, right? That came in, during the last 4 years. Now, truly, it could be a global event. Truly, it could. However, that still doesn't stop me from feeling like he didn't do his job. Right? He could have helped the economy out a lot more than he did, and he didn't. Right? It was almost as if he felt like all he had to do was, I don't know, just be president and everything would work itself out. Right? And what we got instead was we got a bunch of rioting. We had a whole bunch of smash and grabs. We had a whole bunch of people that was sentenced to life in prison, with no possibility of parole, being paroled out anyway, put back out on the streets because they were a liability. They were an economic burden. And, I have yet to figure out, what exactly, what growth did we actually have in the last 4 years? Right? Even with the PPP loans, right? A lot of people have defaulted on those loans. A lot of the loans that were issued were fraudulent. There was a lot of crimes that went undetected, unpoliced. It was like, it made sense to me when I kept hearing, oh, the last shall be first and the first shall be last. And at first I couldn't figure out, what that meant. I'm like, what does that mean? Yeah, it's in the Bible, but we don't really know exactly what that means. Because if I was a spiritual person like I am, the last to me would be the humble. The humble. Right? So, I was feeling like, well, if this is what the humble is going to do, which is not much, no progress, then, now what? That's what I kept thinking, was now what? Now what? Right? And the way that they were, changing the laws, and they just obliterated statute of limitations. They paid no heed to the Constitution. It was just, in my book, these last 4 years, made me feel a little insecure. Made me feel like, I might have to, get me a certificate to carry concealed. Right? Because, yeah. Right? And I'm going to tell you, once I heard that Trump had won, I felt like, because of the way that they did Trump, there's no way any other country on the planet would disrespect a president or an ex-president the way America had disrespected their president. But we see this disrespect fraction throughout society, fractal throughout society, and I'm like, what the hell? The disrespect is real, right? My goodness. The sexual addictions, the drug addictions, the killings, right? The killings within families, right? And then you had this other community calling themselves the spiritual elites, and they had immunity, and they were telling people that, you were cursed by your mother, your brother, your sister, your father, your cousin, your lover, yeah. I'm like, what is this? Right? What is this? So yeah, it made me pretty upset, right? Then, after the election, these men was quick to start projecting. They were like, "Oh no, we getting ready to lose our meal ticket. We better deflect this onto the white woman." And the white woman was coming out talking about, "Oh, what can I do to make you feel safe? I don't know what I done. I don't know what I done to make your life miserable. And it was interesting how, what their answer was just leave them alone. And I'm like, I have never seen, no white woman go into the black communities and harass black people. Right? And then they were like, why don't you just go back in history and learn from your mistakes, right? So, she's probably a modern day woman, and she's thinking back in her history, and she's like, well, gee, I've only, been polite and courteous, to the black people I know. So I can't even figure out, that these black women don't realize that the black men have projected blame onto the white woman. Like I said, the white woman, she's not living in your community, and then if you go back in history, it wasn't the white woman that went to Africa and bought you from your family, or abducted you and dragged you to America to be her slave. The white woman didn't do that. Okay? And for you to act like white women didn't gain their position after she was drugged through the mud, you're sadly mistaken. Right? Because they was dragged over here by their men, to live in a country that, they had to kill in order to obtain. And then a lot of them, they just brought over these women just for prostitution. You see it in our Western movies. Right? But let me tell you something. There's a difference about that white man. Right? That white man, not only has he freed his woman, right? And there's many African YouTubers that have married white men, right? And these white men provide them freedom and assistance, if nothing else. Okay? But it just seems to me, when you don't have an answer on how the white woman can make you feel safe, how the white woman, because she doesn't want to be hated, and for you to say, I think that's just facetious of you, you should already know. Well, you should have it on the tip of your tongue, right? Instead of playing videos of men who are saying, just leave the black woman alone, right? And surely my mind still goes back to, what are they talking about? Just leave the black woman alone. Right now, black women are doing better than a lot of black men, even in this bad economy. At least the ones that aren't doing illicit business practices, right? The ones who are doing illicit business practices, they were doing great during the pandemic. They were doing great a year after the pandemic. However, it's been tapering off as the world started opening up. right? And now, even though, prostitution is still a thing, it's just not as abundant. I was watching White Underbelly, and he had two prostitutes on there. One was 22 years old and one was 17 years old. And they were talking about, their life as a prostitute. And, they live in motels, and they're stating that only motels, would, give them a place, because of course, when you rent, you need to have, proof of income. You need to have an income of 3 times your rent, sometimes 4 times your rent. You have to have a credit score of like 600. No evictions or felonies, right? But that's not hard for the black woman to achieve. It's not. So why is that an issue? Why would homelessness become an issue? Right? And even the woman that's on HUD, right? She's on HUD. Only required to pay a small percentage of her rent. But for whatever reason, she's talking about she can't afford HUD. Okay, so now it's coming to, they're expecting to be paid to do nothing, right? I mean, last year, I don't know how many people we heard talking about they just quit their job. They just quit their job, right? And then, the attitude was probably so negative that some people even got fired, right? Going after, I guess, the YouTube dream. So, you're going to have, a lot of viewing time, right? And they're going to have to view the commercials. And they're not even going to let you just, keep your computer on or keep your smart TV on and allow these things just to play, right? Because they're going to have these little intervals where the television will ask, do you want to continue watching? Okay? And that's because, not because of the good people out there who actually have, people that are actually watching their channel, but you have people out there who are just setting up their devices to view a playlist so that these people can get paid. It's a smart idea, just like it's a smart idea to be clever enough, to sell people the notion of buying subscribers. Yes, it is. However, my thing is, well, why not just do things the right way, right? Because when you do things the wrong way, then they start implementing all of these rules, all of these checkpoints, all of these, new criteria, because, people will mess it up for other people. Okay? And I have seen some people who have, 20,000, 30,000, 40,000 subscribers. But, when, they get a premiere or go live, they don't have people, watching until the end and giving it a thumbs up or even making a comment and sharing. So, there's a lot of different things that go into, how you're actually going to get paid on YouTube. And even, the demographics of who's watching, right? So, I don't know. I would be afraid that it would seem like it's kind of going back into what you're going to be in liberal arts. You're going to be a YouTube creator, which is, performing and, and speaking and, or being, a public figure. Not everybody gets paid. And people are truly fickle. They really are. Me personally, I am Shirley. Shirley, where are you? I am not Shirley. But I'm thinking that 2025 there's going to be some jobs opening up. I'm feeling that. This is not something that ever even came off of the lips of President Biden. Right? And more people was laid off and, fired, and there was so many, restructuring and, than I ever saw even before the pandemic. So, and then also, it bothers me how you want to tell other people what to do, and you don't have your life right. Right? You want to lead other people. You want to tell other people how to vote. You want to tell other people how to be president. You want to tell other people how they should treat you. Right? But you don't have your shit together. And I really do hope that you take this femme freeze that's supposed to commence in December seriously, and that you do it. And that you do it with the intentions on using that period of time as the dark night of the soul, where you can find out, how you are hurt and how you are behaving and acting out your pain. And 9 times out of 10, yeah, it will be, a family member. Probably not your mother, because your mother's not a superwoman. But she probably was the best mother that she could possibly be. And if she was an educated woman, you could consider yourself in the percentile of people that had an educated mother, right? In a small percentile. Yes. Yesterday I was thinking to myself, I don't have any doctors in my family, right? Most of my family, they got their degrees, but they got their degrees later in life. I mean, late. Like my mom, I think she got her degree, I think she got her degree in her 60s. I think my aunt, she might have gotten her degrees in her 50s. My brother, I think he had got his degree, if he had a degree. But, he never held down a job. Everything that he did under the barter system. Okay, yeah, everything he did under the barter system. So, yeah. Then my other brother, I don't think he had any college. Dang, I got some real dumb people in my family. No, I'm kidding. No, I'm not. But I am kidding. No, I'm not. I'm not kidding. I just don't want to hurt your feelings. I shouldn't have said what I said. So, because it's never too late. It's never too late to start learning. Did I get a degree? Just an associate's degree. It's nothing, right? The university was just much too expensive. And being a single parent was much too difficult and competitive. So I didn't really get a chance. And when I started, a lot of the companies that I went to go work for, because they had a good educational benefit, usually by the time I came in and got settled down enough to where I could okay, I could start back on my education, before I had a chance to complete the paperwork, they would change it. Like when I was working for AT&T, right? When I first started working for AT&T, they had unlimited educational benefits as long as, it was geared towards a degree and in the same industry. I'm like, yes, right? Then, of course, I had to go through some training and then, get acclimated to the job. And about 2 years in, I'm getting ready to start taking advantage of their educational program. But before, like I said, before I even had a chance to put in my paperwork, they sent out a notice that the educational program was going to be capped at $6,000. I was like, capped at $6,000? $6,000 at the university level? You could probably take 2 to 4 courses a year. That's it. That's all. Right? And yeah, I could have, I did take a course at a time because, they would also, have mandatory, overtime. But all they had to do was give you a day's notice. Yeah. Almost impossible to anticipate overtime. Wow. And here's the thing, right? Here's the thing. The bottom line is that white women got it out of the mud. They were dragged through the mud. They was dragged over here to this country with their man. And, and eventually, he gave her freedom. Right? And this is the same thing that I would wish for the black woman. That yes, it's been hard. It's a struggle. But, hopefully the black man will give you your freedom to get an education. The black man will give you the freedom not to be his personal slave. Will give you the freedom to leave, especially when it's not working and he feels compelled to have to beat you. I personally don't understand, why so many black men and Muslims are hung up on the ideal of virginity, okay? Because, first of all, if it was that great, that when they did have a virgin, then it would seem like, they would be in heaven in ecstasy and love this girl forever. And it's just like, nope. That's not it at all. Right? Because I have yet to figure out, what exactly are they looking for when they think, bedding down a virgin is supposed to do something for them. Because that topic has been coming up lately. And they've been saying that women don't deserve to be treated well because they're not virgins. And I'm like, yeah, but you don't treat virgins well either. Why? Because whoever had her when she was a virgin left her ass. Okay? That's the proof in the pudding. I get so mad sometimes the way, the way men talk, right? But I get even more mad that women listen to what they're saying, and what they're saying don't make sense. It just doesn't make sense. And then sometimes, they got a lot of dumb women out there too. True enough, a lot of them, they're not educated. But most of them, they're not reckless. I mean, it's one thing to be uneducated, but it's another thing to be uneducated and reckless. So, yeah, I was pretty disgusted, right? Because I couldn't figure out what is going on here, right? We should all be able to vote of our free will, regardless to who we voted for. Nobody has the right to chastise me for casting my vote in a particular way, and they don't even have the right to argue. They don't even have the right to argue to me about it. Now, if they want to have these, campaigns out here, fighting for equal rights, okay, let's do that. But as far as, oh, well, I see how you are. You didn't vote for a black woman to be president. I'm telling you. Did you vote for a white man when Obama became president? And yeah, there may have been some resentment by the white woman, right? Because, when Hillary ran, they didn't elect her. So yeah, but the thing about resentment is not an action. It's a feeling. And the way that you guys are showing your ass to the most nicest people on the planet, it just bothers me. It just bothers me. Now, there are Karens out there, no doubt. but there are also, prejudiced black people. I know for sure, right? I'm not white. I'm not. But I'm going to tell you, I have felt a lot of racism amongst the black people. Not racism. Yeah. Well, yeah, racism. Well, no, not racism. Prejudice. Prejudice. You're not really black. And I'm like, just how much black do I need to be? Right? But then, let me tell you something. They got people with albino skin color in Africa from 2 black parents. Okay? It's not like mixing coffee. Right? It's not like mixing coffee. It has to do with what's in the gene pool and which genes are dominant and which genes are recessive. That's it, that's all. I've dealt with other interracial people who were jet black, and I was like, wow, But then the rest of the brothers and sisters, they were like different shades of brown, all the way up to yellow. Right? But because, we know it has to do with the gene pool and a dominant and a recessive situation, that you don't really have to ask. But if you're not aware and you're automatically thinking, oh, well, no, somebody out there was cheating. Oh, look at Dallas. Oh, beautiful. Yeah. And it just blows my mind that here we are in 2024 and we're talking about colorism. I'm going to tell you, when my kids, they drew a picture of the family, which was them and me and maybe their dad, I was like, well, who is that? Right? It was a white caricature. And they're like, that's you, mama. I'm like, yeah, but they're white. And they would say, but mom, you're white. I'm like, I'm not white. Ain't no white person out there would say I am white. But why? Why do I have so many black people telling me I am white? And then here's the thing that I hate most of all. What I hate most of all are the people that would want me to deny any parts of me. The black, the white, the Mexican, the Indian. Why would I deny any of those parts of me? I think it's just ridiculous. Because nobody here is pure. It's all based off of the color. Heck, it's even hard to get a purebred animal nowadays. And it just really upsets me. And I'll be honest, I have spent my life, never fitting in. Never fitting in. Never fitting in. So I've had to, base my life off of just enjoying, the people who were nice to me and the people who weren't. And that's how I had to live my life. And honestly, when other people got involved, when it was more than just a one-on-one situation, when other people were involved, then things got complicated. Right? Because all of a sudden, I was not the same. Like, hey, one of us is not the same. And it's always been like that. And I would be looking at the same person that, I thought was a good friend of mine. Once they got with somebody that was of similar color to them, now all of a sudden, I'm the person on the outside. It's like, wow. But, and here's another thing, right? As quiet as it's kept, you got either you're white or you're black, right? The Muslims, in my opinion, they interbreeded. The Italians, in my opinion, they interbreeded. The Mexicans, in my opinion, they interbreeded. The Samoans, in my opinion, they interbreeded. The Chinese, in my opinion, they also interbreeded. Okay? They all interbreeded. So I'm not understanding why the colorism. Yes, the white race, they will do great, in colder climates and in spaces where there's not a lot of sunlight. Maybe that would be outer space. However, if there's a lot of sunlight and melanin is required, then, black people will continue the species of the race. Or the race of our species. So there's really no reason to get rid of any of them. And, the variety is beautiful. So beautiful. I just don't understand. So, yeah. I've been tripping all day on that because I just I just cannot believe that this is where we're at in 2024, right? Mainly because of the economy, right? Because it always seems to just turn back to the economy. I was listening to one of my favorite YouTubers, one that talks about misogyny and the cult of man, that he isn't completely 100% healed. And it was sad. It was sad to hear. It was sad. It was sad to see, right? Because extended families is not good. Nuclear families are probably the best way. And he was denying that. And I'm like, what? This is the problem that we're having right now. Is that we don't know, who our brothers and sisters are. And then when they pop up, at the reading of the will and you're not the one that gets the inheritance, then, there's an all-out war. Right? Or you find out, even before you're an adult, the hierarchy of the family structure is not to your liking. So the nuclear family is a way to cut down the drama. And then for him not to even consider the idea, right? And the sacrifice. Now he'll sit up here and tell you, he watches and cares for his son intimately. And I give him props for that. I'm like, wow, that's great, and not because he has to, because he wants to. Now, he could be getting paid to take care of his son. He could be. That might be one of those jobs that he has. Because, certain people that require care, can also have family members be employed to take care of the kid. I'm not saying that he ever said that, but I'm saying I've seen it happen in cases of like mother and daughter, or son and and mom, their elderly mother is being cared by a family member, and the family member gets paid to take care of them. It doesn't necessarily have to be an elderly. Maybe they're disabled. Like when I watch My 600-Pound Life, right? And these people can't take care of themselves, they can actually have their family member get paid to take care of them. Me personally, I would not pay a family member to take care of me. I would definitely have a professional to take care of me. Right? Because the family members that they would have to take care of them, most of the time, they're slackers. They are slackers. Right? They just do the cooking and wash the body, a couple of times a week, And that's it. They don't do the cleaning, or none of that stuff. And I couldn't figure out, well, if you're the caretaker, why are they living in such nasty conditions? And then they show the relationship between the caregiver and the woman. Sometimes it was a boyfriend. Sometimes it was, a family member. And it was just like, wow, family, you would think that if family would do it for free if they could, right? But if they couldn't, then you would think that they would care for you as part of their family and loved one. But that was not what I seen. That was not what I seen. And sometimes the enabler feeders, they would actually be harmful, because they would feed the obese person way too much, and the obese person did not have the willpower to restrain themselves, right? And I was just like, wow, nope, you should really hold on, that sometimes, you can only really get adequate help with somebody that's impartial. And I know that what was said earlier in this video is going to offend people, right? But my thing is first of all, you should treat people how you want to be treated, first of all. If you cast a vote for Kamala, you wouldn't like Trump supporters coming down on you for voting for Kamala. And I'll be honest, I really don't know if Kamala truly had the type of influence to make the changes that she said that she would try to implement, even if she had became president. Now, the only reason why I wanted Kamala to be president is so that black women can be elevated as human beings on the planet. That's the God honest truth. But just like you seen how Biden, he wasn't very influential. The reason why Trump is so influential is even before Trump had become president, Trump was internationally known. Trump was doing business on a global scale. Okay? So, if we're in a bad economy, it makes sense to me to, to have a real businessman in office. And why you guys keep saying, equating the fact that Trump is a white man is more important than, boosting our economy again. I mean, to me, when Trump had the IRS, direct deposit my stimulus check, I was like, that's genius, right? Instead of making me having to apply for my stimulus check. Okay? And did we get a stimulus check from Biden? I don't even remember. I don't even remember if we got a stimulus check from Biden. But I do remember getting a stimulus check from Trump, because I was amazed. I didn't get the second stimulus check. Now that I think about it, instead, during the Biden time that I was supposed to get the stimulus check, they had said something like, well, if you didn't get the stimulus check, then be sure to declare it on your taxes or something like that. I can't remember. But anyway, by the time the end of the year had happened, I had you know what? I'm going to have to check. I'm going to have to check to see if I actually got the 2 stimulus checks. Because I believe since I had to wait and declare it on my taxes, I think I forgot to even do that. Okay. Yeah. I better hurry up and do that, because you only got 4 years to claim your taxes nowadays, to claim a refund. And that used to be something that you were able to do at any time. Was if you, as long as you didn't owe the government, you could file and get your taxes, your tax refund at any time. You wasn't limited to just 4 years where you can claim your refund. However, there is no time limit on when they can say that you owe taxes. There ain't no time limit on that. No statute of limitations on taxes. But one of the things that, one of Trump's proposal is to stop the federal from taxing Social Security. And so, if that passes, then, I will benefit from that. I'm a homeowner. And I'm telling you, I pay $3,000 of school taxes, and I paid like another $2,000 of property taxes, and um, I've been doing that for 25 on this house, and then damn near 30 years on the previous house. So yeah, when you're a homeowner, even as a homeowner, you look at things completely different. And one of the things that this guy had said that I also was against was when he said, oh, they need to give student loan forgiveness. Well, I just tried to figure, how would they do that? How would they do that? Because this loan is issued by a bank, and the bank has received that money from investors, and it was a guaranteed loan. Right? How does that make America look to just not be able to keep their word? The guarantee does not mean guarantee to investors. I mean, really. Anyway, I'm gonna cut this video off here. It's been over an hour, and yeah, I hope I make it through the day, because I didn't get no sleep last night. So, bye.